quarterback, but I honestly believe it's a tough evaluation now with the news of Michael Thomas. He's going to miss some time at the start of this season. I think Taysom Hill is probably going to have to play some receiver just out of necessity. Their most experienced guy is Traquan Smith outside of Alvin Kamara when it comes to skill position guys. It's a tough evaluation, but Jameis Winston, given what happened to Michael Thomas, is going to be their starting quarterback. I expect Taysom Hill to play some receiver.
Mike T, Chicago, who wins the starting quarterback job there, Dalton or Fields?
It has to be Justin Fields. He's just too talented. We know what Andy Dalton is. Andy Dalton is a middle-of-the-road average starter at best. Justin Fields has enormous potential both with his arm and his legs. I know what their head coach said, but at the end of the day, I think there's too much of a talent gap, and pretty soon Justin Fields should win that job. I would think it's by the end of the preseason.
All right, another rookie situation here. Dan, the Patriots quarterback job, Cam Newton or Mac Jones? Who wins that?
Yeah, Mac Jones. This offense for New England is going to be one, run-oriented, and then two, great on third down, efficiency on third down. That'll be a Mac Jones strength. Now, I do see them taking a package for Cam Newton and having him be a big part of their offense. Situational stuff. Third downs, we can utilize quarterback run 11-on-11 football, red zone 11-on-11 football, also with the ability that he can still throw the ball, Cam Newton, but Mac Jones is going to be their starting quarterback.
All right, that's two rookies. Can I hear three? Mike, we go back to San Francisco. Trey Lance, Jimmy G. Who wins that job?
Yeah, it stops at 2 green. It's Jimmy G. 24-8 as a starter. If he's healthy and Nick Bosa and those other defensive players come back healthy, San Francisco can have a deep run in the playoffs. So for Jimmy G, it's never about his ability. It's about his health and durability. I expect him to be the starter on opening day.
Okay, so those are some of the battles that we have our eyes on. Much more football as the conversation continues today. But then let me get you to the superstar of the night, the global superstar of the night. It was showtime. Shohei Ohtani on the mound for the Angels hosting the Rockies in the very first batter of the game. It's Ohtani facing Raimel Tapia, and that was just to argue as the best player in the entire National Football League. Here's Laura Rutledge.
Question: which NFL player has had the most sacks over the last 5 seasons?
99 with the sack, and the Rams are going home with the win.
That would be the guy with 99 printed on his chest.
Aaron Donald rips into the turf and jumps on the football.
His pass rush win rate was the highest among interior defenders last year, racking up 13.5 sacks and 54 first pressures. That's the most in the league.
At midfield, Aaron Donald does it again.
He won the Defensive Player of the Year award 3 of the last 4 seasons.
Aaron Donald forced the fumble. And Donald and the Rams take over.
And also happens to be the longest tenured member of the Madden 99 Club. For the 7th season in a row, welcome back, Aaron Donald.
And so when they sent me that yesterday, just one question jumped into my head, and I just wanted to spend a minute on it here with the guys. Dan Orlovsky, we talk a lot about the GOAT, right? I mean, Tom Brady, greatest quarterback of all time. Is Patrick Mahomes going to be the greatest quarterback of all time? Is Aaron Donald the greatest defensive tackle of all time?
Absolutely. Aaron Donald is the Randy Moss of defensive tackles. I mean, I remember Randy Moss just completely changing the game and the way that people saw how you could play defense against him. And that's what Aaron Donald's done. Okay, great. We're going to put like 2 people on Aaron Donald. It doesn't matter. Well, we'll slide our offensive line that way. It doesn't matter. And you would catch yourself, and I did this all the time, we would be watching tape of Aaron Donald trying to get ready for a game, and you would slowly transition from, okay, we got to get ready, or our plan ready, to being like, hey, just watch this guy. Like, did you guys see this play by Aaron Donald? Like, you're not supposed to do that when you're preparing for an opponent. Aaron Donald's the best defensive tackle ever.
Yeah, I'm not sure who generally gets that. I mean, Mike T, Joe Green, Warren Sapp. I'm not sure who was considered the greatest defensive tackle of all time prior to this, but is it now Aaron Donald amongst the people who make their living in this stuff?
Well, Greeny, I challenge my inner Sal Palantonio, and I have texted with Coach Parcells this morning. And not only is Coach Parcells a Hall of Fame coach, but he's a football historian. And according to Coach, it's Merlin Olsen. He made 14 Pro Bowls in his career, 14. So taking nothing away from Aaron Donald and his greatness, agree with what Dan said, I'm going to go with Merlin Olsen just in deference to Coach Parcells.
He was also an outstanding actor. I mean, Merlin Olsen is he unquestionably won more acting Emmys than Aaron Donald has to this point. We'll see where that goes. Dan, after the show, I'll tell you who Merlin Olsen was.
Thank you.
Anyway, I can invite you to tune into SportsCenter and NFL Live for exclusive Madden ratings. And don't miss First Take as Alex Smith, Marshawn Lynch, and several of your favorite former players join every day to debate the ratings. It's Madden Ratings Reveal Week all across ESPN. Meanwhile, let me go back to Shefty, who definitely remembers Merlin Olsen. Let's run the hurry up through a bunch of NFL stories here, Shefty, and let's start with Michael Thomas. What is going on with him? Oh, I'm told that, did we lose Shefty? Is that what you're telling me here? I'm a little confused. We do have him. Okay, fair enough. So, am I told that we have news on Deshaun Watson, Adam Schefter? Go ahead, take it away.
No, we don't have we don't have news on Deshaun Watson.
No.
We're talking about Deshaun Watson.
Fair
There's
enough.
a lot of news to go around every day, Greeny. Essentially, Deshaun Watson is in a situation where teams around the league and the Houston Texans, there's been a dance going on. There's been conversations that have been had, but the Houston Texans have not gotten down to where they have fielded offers from other teams. Still, as of this morning, they still have not reached out to other teams to say, what's your best offer? And obviously that's a football standpoint. There's the legal standpoint and the 22 civil lawsuits that are hanging over this entire situation and issue with Deshaun Watson, which obviously complicates the football side of things. There's a legal side of things, which is going to unfold over the course of weeks and months. And then there's the football side. And now that we're at training camp and the Texans are scheduled to begin practicing tomorrow, they have to make some decisions here about Deshaun Watson, who doesn't want to be there with a team that seems to have moved on from him. And so everybody's waiting to see how the team and Deshaun Watson handle this. But I can tell you, as of this morning, significant trade discussions have yet to begin between the Texans and other teams.
It's such a complicated situation for all of the reasons that Shefty just enumerated. So Mike Tannenbaum, again, with your lengthy experience as a general manager, walk me through what you imagine is going on right now behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's a complicated situation, but if I'm another team, I am calling Houston all the time. I'm checking in to see what it would take to trade for Deshaun Watson if and when he's eligible. It may include something like a conditional pick this year. If he plays, let's say, 75% more of the snaps in 2021, we would give 3 first-round picks. If we would acquire him and he doesn't play this year, obviously the value would go down. So I am talking to my owner, I'm talking to my head coach, but most importantly, I am calling Nick Caserio all the time, Greeny, to make sure he knows that we are at the top of the list. And one other dynamic that's really important here, if we go back to 2010, Ben Roethlisberger was suspended for 6 games for the violation of the personal conduct policy without any criminal charges. So even if, and it's a big if Deshaun Watson ever settles the criminal situation, he is still very much in play for a suspension by the commissioner.
Yeah, and there is, as we've seen in many cases before, there's really no way of gauging what a timetable on that may look like, and so the teams don't know that because the league doesn't know that. Dan Orlovsky, what do you think?
Yeah, I want to take everyone inside the locker room, Greeny, because I just want to be candid about the situation. I think the most important thing, if I was a player in a locker room that was entertaining going to trade for Deshaun Watson, I would hope and pray that my organization got all the information that they could. Because you'd rather be late than early to this party because the allegations are what they are. And I would hope that as a person in a locker room, a man who's married, I've got a daughter, I'd hope that they covered all their bases and got all the information necessary. And then I would hope and pray that we've got a head coach that can handle the situation, and a front office that can handle the situation, and leadership in our locker room that can handle what potentially, just from a media situation, would come along with that. From a PR situation, you better have the right people within your organization to handle everything that could potentially come with Deshaun Watson in a trade, depending on what happens with all the off-the-field allegations.
Yeah, I think that's right. It's a football story that's about a lot more than football. We'll have more on that as we continue, but we do have really big breaking news from the Olympics to share this morning as well. Just within the last hour, American gymnastics superstar Simone Biles is out of the team competition with what is being called an injury. Biles changed her more complicated vault midair to a more simple 1.5, but still landed awkwardly in so doing. She then consulted with medical staff and left the floor. She received the lowest vault score of her career. This is a developing story which we will update as needed. But again, Simone Biles, perhaps the best known athlete of all of the American stars in Tokyo, out, at least from the team competition. As we continue, our top story of the day, Aaron Rodgers is in Green Bay. Devontae Adams, his tune has